So, without any delay, I would like to ask you to give your attention to Professor Wen Ho, who is chair in corporate finance at University of Edinburgh Business School. He has received his PhD from Manchester Business School, and Wen is elected as Fellow of the Royal Society of Edinburgh and member of Academia Europaea, and served as co-chair of the Young Academy of Scotland, and is the 30th president of Chinese Economic Association. His research interests cover corporate finance, financial development, as well as law and finance. He has published 5 books with Palgrave Macmillan and a range of academic articles in the Journal of Financial Economics, Journal of Corporate Finance, European Journal of Operation Research, etc., etc. if you don't mind me saying so. He received a award for excellence in doctoral supervision and multiple best teaching awards, which is something that sometimes people don't have in academia, so I congratulate you doubly for that. Wen is joint editor of the British Accounting Review and editor-in-chief of the Journal of Chinese Economic and Business Studies. And so he's going to talk a little bit about academia and research.
The combination of practitioners and also academia. So here my job is to briefly introduce you the journal if you are not very familiar with it. So the journal which I added, and also the journal which going to publish a special issue on sustainable finance based on this conference and another a few other events, is British Accounting Review. The journal is actually belongs to the National Learning Society of Accounting and Finance in the UK. Believe it or not, this journal is one of the longest established journal in accounting. We started in 1969, before I was born. So it's, well, we have British in the title, but actually we welcome all types of settings, including settings of Portugal, of course, and also the settings in Africa, Latin America, all over the world. We also only have accounting in the title. That is because when the journal was founded, finance was not even a subject. So the thing is, if we change the title, we will need to start the game again. So, you know, it's take like 50 years to build the reputation. We can't afford that. But for people within the circle, they know that the journal does publish studies in accounting and finance, and also publish settings for different types of countries. Okay, that's great. Right, and I leave a QR code you can scan. This leads you to the LinkedIn page of our journal. Now it has more than 4,000 followers, and with you following us, we're going to have a bit more, and I welcome you to follow it. You can either take a photo or scan it now. We use LinkedIn to promote event before we even officially announce something to SSRN. So if you follow us, you will be able to know the event we are planning. This is an introduction of the journal. It's truly international. We only have British in the title, but we have the editorial board members over 20 countries, and authors are from over 40 countries. This is a boutique journal. We receive more than 1,000 submissions, but only publish about 50 papers a year. So our vision is to make the journal to be a very truly leader in accounting and finance research with a global impact. And we plan to achieve this through embracing diversity and inclusion. So first of all, I'd like to give you some information about performance metrics, because this is an important criteria for academics like us to decide which journal to submit our best work to. So first of all, I want to show you the paper. The journal is super popular. We received more than 1,000 submissions in the last year. And since Jason, my co-editor, and I took over the post about 3-4 years ago, the number of submissions has increased dramatically. And here are the top 10 countries for acceptance. Start from the UK, Australia, China, US, Canada, New Zealand, France, etc. In a few years' time, I would expect to see Portugal is among the top 10 list. So I urge you to submit your work to us. And talking about the major a region of the contribution, submissions, China, UK, Australia, similar, but China actually received a growing number of submissions from China those days. And talking about the ranking, there are a lot of measures that we can use. The most important one, presumably, are impact factor and journal citation index. And actually, we are the top 2 in the world. The only journal doing better than us is Journal of Accounting and Economics. But when you look at other indicators, we are doing equally well. We are among the top in the discipline. And one of the commonly used journal ranking is ABDC list. We are the A star, the highest journal can possibly achieve. And we are not doing well by having a lucky year last year. No, we have been doing very well for many years. I can show you the statistics of the past, and I make the slides available. I welcome you to download or ask me by email. I'm happy to share with you. And sustainable finance is always an important area for the journal to study, not because we are chasing the trend. It's quite opposite. We start to working on these areas quite many years ago. So talking about the special issue led by Theodore and his guest director team, based on this conference, they are adding a journal on sustainable finance and accounting. So we very much welcome your submission. To show that sustainable finance is important and presumably the most important topic for the journal, because if you look at the number of citations for the topics published last year, as you may find out, many of them are about ESG and sustainability, such as the gender diversity, the environmental issues, sustainable compensation, environment, social governance, etc. You read it; they are all on the most cited and most downloaded list. So I'm not going over each page, but that is to show the statistics for different years. We have been very consistent that for the researchers in sustainable finance, our journal is a place for them to read the papers and to publish their papers. And also a bit more information about the journal. We are organizing our annual conferences every year. We started from the last year. So we had our the first annual conference in Harvard last year with 2 faculties there to be the keynote speaker. The reason we reach beyond the UK, the audience beyond the UK, is because from impact factor, we are number 2 in the world. But in terms of visibility, in terms of the word of mouth reputation, we do need to do a lot of work. So going to Harvard is one of the steps, important steps that we make. So this is a photo of the December conference last year in Harvard. And this year we are having a ESG conference in Edinburgh. We actually already secured a venue in University of Chicago, but because the journal belongs to a BAFA association in the UK, that's National Learning Society of Accounting and Finance, they hope that we not always organize conference in States, so we bring it back to Edinburgh. That time, I mean August is great time for you to visit Edinburgh. If you haven't been there, I welcome you to submit your paper. And the keynote speaker is 2016 Nobel Prize laureate Oliver Hart from Harvard, among with other prominent speakers that we show there, will be the keynote speaker for our annual conference this year. On top of the annual conference series, we also have a global conference series. So last year it was with the University of Cape Town, and this year going to be in Victoria Falls. So Theodore going to join us in that conference to promote his special issue. If you haven't been to Victoria Falls or Africa, this is going to be a great occasion for gathering the experts, both practitioners and also academics in in sustainable finance to come. I very much welcome your submission and participation. And next year, if I'm still the editor, I'm not sure about that because I finished my term next year, we're going to have it in Ushuaia, the gateway to Antarctica in Argentina. The reason we organize it to remote places is because we want use this global conference series to give the academics a reason and a chance to go to the places where people normally don't go, but places where there are rich institutions for us to explore. So I think this year Victoria Falls going to be a fabulous place for us to gather there. On top of that, we also have many special issues upcoming. Roughly half of them are on climate or sustainability. The other half are about the application of the new technology, like blockchain, like the textual analysis, and fintech, etc., big data, and AI. So these are the two areas where our journalists are targeting and build our reputation on. So I was told to give a bit more information about the direction of the journal or the topics with the policy implications. So I'm going to also say a few words about that before the next session starts. So the first area we are looking at, and we believe they're going to be an important growing point in the field of sustainable finance, is biodiversity finance, because scientists estimate that the world now is losing species and up to 1,000 times the background extinction rate of 1 to 5 species per year. And also, even for the not endangered animals, their genetic diversity has been reduced because nowadays those animals are living in very fragmented areas. So there are a couple of industries are heavily influenced by those type of nature risks associated with biodiversity, such as construction, agriculture, and food and beverage. So the world must address this on top of the climate change. A report suggests that by the year of 2030, there are going to be a big gap of the finance needs in order to meet the challenge, which is as large as $700 billion a year. So Andrea Karoui, our keynote speaker for another conference for Theodor's special issue, he believed that biodiversity will outperform or outpace climate change mitigation as the next big challenge for sustainable finance. So here I list a number of the topics which has a policy implication but also interesting for us as academics to look into, such as are biodiversity risks incorporated in equity price? If so, how do we measure the risks? And also, what are the new financial instruments we can use to attract private capital? And how does biodiversity loss impact financial market? And what is the role of private player and government to addressing biodiversity crisis? And how do corporate strategies incorporate biodiversity finance? And what are the most effective regulatory frameworks and incentives for promoting investment in this area? And how can technological innovation aid this? And finally, what are the outcomes of different biodiversity finance models? Well, different models can suggest very different results in this area. And we believe there's going to be an area we're going to look into and very much look forward to your submission if you are interested in topics in this. Another topic which I believe is very important, is also in line with the special issue Theodore added, is ESG backlash. There are a couple of reasons why in the US and a growing number of countries are promulgating regulations to go against ESG. One reason is they believe that is violating the free market principle. And the other reason is they witness many greenwashing. Those days when people look at ESG, very often they use the ESG index constructed by the data companies. There are two issues. One is if you compare the data from different sources, for the same company, they give very different ratings. I think the correlation is about 0.5. So there is a big discrepancy between the different indices. The other one is those dummy variables actually miss a lot of information. They really don't know whether the certain policy there for addressing the climate change or just there to show the market as a signal they want to address it. So I use the University of Edinburgh's sustainable travel policy as example to show that how ridiculous the policy can be in a place. So the document is a few pages long, but I copy a few here. I think you don't know that as good as I do, because we need to follow the principle that in order to travel. So first of all, we must use centralized travel agency. Whenever we travel, we need to get approval from multiple places, the head of group, and we even have a potter. His actual work is to prove us to go to different countries. And also, when we travel in the UK, although the train in the UK is very slow, we are not allowed to take plane. And also, we are not able to use a fund to buy individual carbon offsetting credits when we buy the flight ticket. And lastly, we were told when we travel, we must eat low carbon food. I was like, what is that? Then I searched, okay, apple is the most low carbon food. So last night I had some fish. Maybe I'm violating the university policy. Mm-hmm. So we use the ChatGPT to analyze the documents. So we're asking that, what's the proportion of the documents are actually addressing the carbon reduction and climate change? Given that the documents is very long, I don't show off them to you. The result is only 10%. Only 10% of the documents is about reducing carbon. What's the rest? About 70% of them is to increase bureaucracy and formality. So whenever we travel, we need to fill a lot of forms before we go, and when we come back, there's even more works for other, reimbursement, report the trip, etc. How that can be related to carbon reduction. And also, the rubbish bin in our office has been taken away. The only difference make is we need to walk longer to get rid of the rubbish, and that we don't see how that's going to be helpful for carbon reduction. And another 20% of the regulations or policies are about cost saving. For example, we are not able to do things that we would like to do because they claim those events has carbon implications. And in addition, the ChatGPT have noticed that those approaches actually go against what is the scientific recommendation. For example, the University of Edinburgh, they want to offset all the carbon emission for the university activity, staff activity, by planting some trees in Scotland. It's impossible to be achieved given that we are a huge university with so many students and staff. We are not allowed to buy the carbon offset credits. Instead, they want to plant trees. There are already plenty of trees in Scotland. I don't see there are many empty land to build more trees. So this, according to ChatGPT, confirm my initial thoughts. This is against the scientific findings, and the carbon neutrality wouldn't be achieved this way. So this is just an example. So when those policies were designed, this is like both university or the companies, they never consulted an expert in carbon studies. They just made up by the administration staff. They make documents like this, and they got promoted. They got promoted to other university as a vice chancellor, etc. And the university can perform so well in certain rankings. But when we use scientific findings, scientific criteria to examine the documents, we find that the policy itself is flawed. But assuming you are having an ESG index, Edinburgh is like top 10 in the world because we are so green. We have so much policies, but those policies only do harm. Only 10% are aiming to reduce the carbon reduction. So that concludes the talk today. So biodiversity finance and also some content analysis of the carbon policies will be some important areas to study I very much look forward more submissions from our academic community of course, sustainable finance, especially our communities in Portugal. Either you work on corporate sustainable finance or other traditional types of accounting or finance studies. We look forward to see more submissions from you. All right, hope I didn't take too long, and
No,
thank you so much
so
for the
much,
invitation.
Wen. It was wonderful. Thank you so much. So I welcome everyone to go to the parallel sessions according to their, interests, and we'll meet again here at 5:15. Thank you so much.